the title of this video would indicate, I am sort of back. And what that means is I've carved out enough time from all of the stuff that's been going on to at least record this video to let you know that I'm still around, I'm still going to be doing stuff. I don't know when the next video that's going to have some more content is going to show up, but I have plans about what that's going to be. It's just a question of fitting it into the schedule, because the schedule has gotten a little hectic. I don't know if I went into any detail about this earlier in this channel, but earlier this year, the company that I work for got sold. And this did not mean that my job was in danger. It did mean that there was a lot of upheaval and a lot of chaos and a lot of difficulties getting things done. And I have that much more to do generally. But overall, it's been positive. It's just been really, really kind of a scramble. And it meant that I had to be that much more selective with what I did with what spare time I did have. And the video channel, unfortunately, had to get put on the back burner because a couple of other things have also been going on. And the first is that I've mentioned before how I have not one but two books that I've finished over the past couple of years that have been sort of sitting in the queue waiting to be put out there. And a big part of why I was waiting on them was because I was trying to figure out whether one of them would be marketable in a much more upscale manner, whether it was something that might be worth, putting out as broadly as possible. And I've gone back and forth about this, and I'm still going back and forth about it. But I have decided that one way or another, I just want to get them both out there and just get them in front of people's noses, see what they think of them, and then move on to the next thing. And those two projects, by the way, I've mentioned one of them before, which is Pavilion 7. And this is kind of like, this is sort of like my attempt to both write a love letter to stuff like Blade Runner and other cyberpunk, and yet at the same time also get out from under its shadow. Not just write a love letter, but write an extension on the idea. Try to produce something that is infused with as much of whatever I can bring to it as is possible. And I will probably have a separate video where I talk about that in detail. The other project is in a completely different vein. And the best way that I could describe it, the title, by the way, is Charisma. And the best way that I could describe it is that it is influencer culture themed speculative fiction. And I don't want to go into too much more detail than that, because again, I want to address it in its own video and at its own pace. But I've got these projects, both of them sitting there. They're more or less finished. But I want to sit down with them, just carve out like a month or two of time for each one of them and just lock in on them completely and go through them, make sure everything is as good as I can get it, and then put them out there sometime in the first half of 2026 and have everybody enjoy them as best they can. So now here's the other thing, or maybe the other thing. Over the last month and a half, I got involved in another creative project, which happened very, very suddenly and very spontaneously. And I cannot talk at all about this in detail for a variety of reasons, which will become clear if and when it does go somewhere. But for the time being, and for those of you who have been following on my blog, you probably already know this, but for the time being, the way I'm going to talk about it is through a code name. And the code name is Red Ether. And what it will mean in the long run, if it pays off, would be a tremendous set of opportunities opened up for me. It's part of a cluster of similar projects in the same vein, so I could probably call them Red Ether 2, Red Ether 3, and so on and so forth. And again, I wish I could tell you more about them, but there's a big number of reasons why I can't. I sort of have to sit on it until something clicks. But if any one of these things pays off, it will pay off in a huge way, and you will be among the very first people to know about it. Now, one of the things I hate most about doing anything is creating a project, finishing it, and then being forced to sit on it for whatever reason. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. I'm super impatient when it comes to finishing stuff and getting it out into people's hands. I want people to be able to enjoy these things, even if I'm, only talking to 6 other people, fine. I want those 6 other people to enjoy what I have on tap. This is my gift. And I feel bad that I'm not able to fully give it. But I also don't want to give something that's either going to short circuit some real opportunities if I talk too much about it early on, or if it's underbaked. If I give it to you and you look at it, you said, this is kind of a mess. So I want to avoid both of those scenarios as best I can. And that's why I'm sort of sitting on this stuff for the time being, much to my chagrin. But again, by the middle of next year, I hope to be able to have both books out and be able to say something one way or another about the Red Ether project. So time frame is like 5-6 months at this rate. And I've kept people waiting too long as it is, but really I need just this much more time to get everything straightened out. And in the meantime, of course, I'm going to be brewing up a whole great deal more content for this channel. I've actually been taking a lot of notes in the background while all this other stuff has been going on in my life for stuff that I'd like to cover. It's just a question of finding a slice of time to sit down, to write it up, to talk about it, to edit it together, and to publish it. I don't like to do things half-baked if I can help it. Like I could have recorded a 5-minute version of any one of those video topics. It's just me talking off the cuff, but I don't like the way they come out. I'd like to have at least some degree of rehearsal and preparation and, figuring out what points I'm going to touch on. I don't want to just sit on the front of the camera and blab, much as I'm doing now, unfortunately. So those things will come in their time, and I'm hoping that through December there will be a little bit more time because of the holiday lull at work and a few other things finally settling into place that will allow me to do that. So summing it all up, I've got 2 things waiting to go out, which I hope to have out by the first half of next year. I've got a great new project under wraps that I can't talk about it at all until it's fully baked. And I've got more video stuff on the way. With any luck, I'll be able to start getting back into a regular cadence of doing these things in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but we will see. Thanks for being patient. I really appreciate it.